Greetings and salutations. I'm using my wife's phone because mine keeps goofing up, and then it's the reason you didn't get the end of the build video for the hutch. I'm done with the main hutch build, but then after installing it at my wife's desk, I figured out that I could do an add-on to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build on the add-on, and then we're going to add it to the hutch, and you'll get to see the completed hutch then. Sorry about that. I was having more trouble with my phone, and I wanted to complete the hutch because I was getting ready just to finish this project. So I did it off camera, but you're going to see the completed hutch and this add-on. The add-on is basically to the left of the hutch, where the desk where the hutch is at. There are these wire racks that are holding this paper for my wife's projects. And big wire racks, but they're not quite as high as the hutch. So this shelf is going to attach to the hutch and go over the wire racks, sit over the wire racks, so that we can utilize the space above the wire racks, which right now she can't do anything with. So it's going to be 4 foot long, because it's just a little bit longer than the wire racks, and it's going to be the same width as the hutch, which is 13 inches. So once we complete this, we will add it onto the hutch. So hopefully we won't have any more interruptions, because my wife's camera doesn't have its memory full like mine is, and I think that's why it's goofing up, is I've always got the memory completely full. So I've already cut the 4 foot boards off camera. I did it on my old phone and it died, and I said that's enough. So my wife said, please take my phone and do it there. So here we go. Okay, we've got an 8 foot board, 8 foot 1 by 3, and it's this 1 by 3. I measured 4 foot from each side, because one time I accidentally got a board that was like a few inches shy of 8 feet, and I did the cut and I was screwed. So this way I verified that it was an 8 foot board, and then I measured the 4 foot correctly from both sides to verify I didn't mismeasure. Measure twice, cut once. I measured 5 times, cut it, and still screwed up. But not this time. It looked good. So I'm going to go ahead. I got my 2 4 foot boards. I'm going to need 13-inch boards next. And it's going to be 13-inch boards on one side and a little bit less on the other. And I'm just going to line things up when we get there. So the first board will be 13 inches. I think I'll cut the next 2 as 13 inches. I'm going to go get my board from behind the camera. I'm still here though. Okay, I'm getting the board right now. I'm going to measure out 13 inches. Let's see. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use finish board at the top, and that stuff's really, really thin. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in support for the weight. So the thickness of the support board is going to be kind of, if you put in enough support pieces underneath, that finish board seems to hold pretty good for the thinness that it is. It's pretty solid stuff, so I'm not going to worry too much. So I'm going to measure 13 inches here, and then I'm going to make the other board the exact same width, and then I'm going to cut it down if we need to, which I will need to, because I'm doing one side a miter side, because it has to look, I don't want to see the joint on the outside of the shelf, but yeah, I'll have to think about that actually, because I'm putting 1 by 4s on the outside of the shelf to hold up the shelf. No, I'm doing it on the inside. So yeah, I'm going to need a nice looking, the joints have to look nice. So whenever the joints look nice, I do a miter cut. When it doesn't matter at all, it's so much easier to do a butt cut where you just, you know, your standard put them together instead of the fancy miter junk. Okay, this would be much easier once I get my wheels on this cart, which will be happening soon. I have the wheels. Of course, I was told that there's a little rolling thing that you could have, which would be much easier than moving the cart every time. And have the other end on a roller than doing it this way. But I already have it set up this way, and if I put wheels on it, the cart will move around easy. Also, I've got a power outlet that I bought for the shelf, for the hutch. But then I realized I wanted a white power outlet to match the white hutch. So I bought a white outlet. So that means I have this outlet floating around here. Not outlet, but power strip. I'm going to add the power strip to this thing, this table, when I do my upgrade. And it'll be so much better by the time I'm done. Now, iteration 2. I'm a computer programmer by trade, so, you know, version 2, definitely. Okay, I'm going to put this board up by now. I'm going to use the rest of this board as support pieces inside the frame once we build the frame. Now, I'm probably going to have to cut it down because I did 13 inches, but that's a 13 inches total. I'm going to have to cut at least one of these boards down. One's going to be a miter cut, the other one's going to be a butt cut. And the side that goes on the butt cut is going to have to be smaller. I'll have to measure that out actually. So these boards are the butt cuts on the inside. Together they're 1.5 inches, which makes sense because 1x4s are about 3/4 of an inch. So you add the 3/4 inch together and you get 1.5. So that makes perfect sense. So I need to take 1.5 off of my 13 inches, which makes sense. 1.5. I've never done a butt cut on one side and a miter cut on the other, so this is going to be probably a cluster. I ain't going to say what the F stands for, but you know what I mean. But I'm going to cut it a little shy on my measurements because you can always cut off more, but you can't add to wood you can't add to the wood easy, so you have to start out from scratch. So now I'm going to do this end is going to be the mitered end. So I need to set my saw. And this board has got a chip on the end of it. So I'm going to miter this off. Rather clever of me. Well, as clever as I can be. We want a 45-degree angle. And I need to get closer. Like I said, this will be so much easier once I get my wheels on here. Okay. And make sure you don't cross your arm over the saw, basically. I hate it when I put my arm out like this. The guard will protect me. I really don't want to depend on the guard either. Be very careful whenever you're sawing. I'd hate for anybody to saw off a hand or a finger or... So I know it's only a flesh wound, but it hurts. Alright, here we go on the other side. I love, and I mean love, this saw. Let's see. Gotta make sure I'm doing this correctly. Yeah. Okay. This is I've been using one of these for, like I said earlier in another video, I think 10 years or more. So, let's see if I got these right. Always double check your measurements and your cuts by comparing them to one another. Because if you don't, you're going to end up messing yourself up in the end. Because the cuts have to be very precise, or you end up with just a slight variance that's going to mess up your whole thing. And of course, I have just a slight variance. Yeah. If I put these down on the ground, this one is slightly off. So I'm going to cut just a little bitty bit off of this one. Just seems pretty good. Okay. Good enough. Yeah, I say good enough a lot. My wife really hates it when I say good enough. It's not that she wants perfection, but good enough is my way of, it'll do. That doesn't. She'd rather have, yeah, I got it, and instead of it'll do. I think it's so it's not that it has to be perfect, but to just say, close enough, just kind of like giving up on trying for perfection at least. And I understand that, and I think I'm a lot further on my projects because I try to be perfect as possible. See, this edge doesn't quite go 100% over. So, here we go. Okay, let's get the cruddy flowing away for now. Let's get these butt ends together, this end together. This joint should be a bit more forgiving because we have the butt joint on the end to make up for any goofiness on the board. And there's some goofiness going on here, for sure. Yeah, there always is on this. I think it doesn't help that oh yeah, you'll be able to see what's going on will be better over here. Okay. So, yeah, so I think part of the problem is that this bench is not 100% level. It's got a board that is up higher than the others, I would say. Of course, something's going on here. So, let's just check this. All right. be exactly 13 inches. This should be exactly 13 inches. This side is. This side is not, which I knew going in it wouldn't be because I purposely didn't cut enough. Of course, so I'm cutting it off camera here. I'll move this around again. So now I'm going to cut it, and of course, you know what will happen is I'll cut too much off this time. Who knows? Alright, let's get us back into full view. What is going on with this? Now we're 13 inches on the mark. So we have our miter end over here with our miter cuts, and the butt end, well, we're just butt these two into the centerpiece here, and they're both 13 inches. So let's just hope. I'm going to do some pre-drilling, and by doing the pre-drilling, I'm going to keep the board from splitting like earlier, and by pre-drilling just the one side and not all the way into the board, I've got the advantage of not having to have the exact size recessed hole bit. I'm also recessing the holes, or countersinking as the term is. Okay. I'm going to do 2. Oh, that cracked. Oh, of course. Don't want to recess too much with a miter. And of course, I already split the wood doing the recess hole there. So I just went in a bit. Gotta be careful not to get too close to the edge, especially when you have a mitered edge, that it just drastically reduces the amount of surface area. speeds this is going to work, especially with already mitered 1x4s. With 2x4s, it's not as big a deal, but 1x4s are so thin compared to the 2x4s. I mean, so much thinner that you have to be really careful. You know, these miter ditches aren't going to be perfect because I've got some weirdness going on. Yeah. And to fix that, I need a flat surface, which I have some spare 2x4s. I don't know if they're 13 inches. Probably not. Let's see. Oh, so close yet so far. I mean, right where I need the 2x4, it's not. Well, let's try piecemealing it. The whole idea, though, is to provide a flat surface. And it's not going to be okay, that ain't working. Let me see. Too big. Ow. I gotta finish this table so it's not such a mess. Okay. It's a weird way of doing this, and it's probably not going to pay off, but trying to get a flat surface here to work with. Again. The new improved saw board is going to have no exposed screws that I keep sticking my hand on. This has got to be painful for people to watch. It's painful for me. Very painful. Okay. just trying to get a even surface here so that I can verify that it's not my table that's doing this, it's the board itself. And I don't think it is the board itself that much. The board is a little bit warped, but not near as bad as one would think. Well, for one thing, the wrong board here. Help with the 1x4. 1x4s on each side. To even out, I need a more even surface. I really should screw a piece of plywood on top of this, because this is definitely something you don't want to have to do every day. Okay, I've got an evenness on each side. Yeah. So like I did before, I used a staple gun. Doesn't have any staples in it. These. Okay. Staples. This is for my auto gun, and I don't feel like plugging my auto gun in. Hopefully this staple gun will do it. Find out in a second if they fit. Oh my goodness, really? Mini Scorpion. Welcome to New Mexico. A mini itty bitty scorpion ended up inside of my staple box. That was closed. Uh-huh. And you don't even want the mini ones to sting you. In fact, you definitely don't want the mini ones to sting you. They're, I was told that their venom's actually more deadly. But I get told all kinds of weird things by the natives here. They like to mess with you. Especially if they think you're easily swayed, or easily, if you're a bit innocent seeming, they love to pick on you. Yeah. Or at least the ones I work with at Wistiff. If it means anything, a lot of the people I work with at Wistiff used to be in the military. Nothing wrong with the military. I love working with former military people. But they have this, what do you call it? Pecking order and things. They like to pick on people because that's what they learned in the military. The one guy I talked to, oh yeah, it'll make you stronger. I'm like, no. I don't think so. What it is it makes you feel stronger. But you know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the military people. You just have to take it with a grain of salt when they tell you something, because sometimes they're trying to get your goat, believing something that's not real, that's not really happening. Yeah. But they're good people. They're really good people. But they like having fun with you at your expense. A lot of people do. In fact, I'm fitting in way too well over there. At times, I join right in. Like I said, I used to be nice before I started working here. They're nice people. It's just, like I said, it's just a different way of seeing things. They always say it's trying to toughen you up, and I'm like, right, okay. My response is, I don't want to be toughened up. I like the way I am. There you go. But I've been told that the little ones you do not want to be stung by. Just because they're tiny doesn't mean they're not dangerous. Many things in the desert, no, scratch that. All things in the desert are trying to kill you. I mean, even the rose bushes, something as simple as a rose bush, their thorns, compared to the Michigan rose bushes, are like twice the length, and they're just, oh my goodness, they're horrid. And most everything here has thorns. It's just incredible. Just river trees, they have thorns. No matter, why does everything have thorns? Well, the desert wants to protect itself. It's a harsh environment. So, yeah, that's what you get. Thorns on everything. Makes gardening not fun, even though I hated gardening before. I really hate it now. Actually, I am enjoying gardening with my wife, but gardening, yeah, more so these days because I like seeing the results. It is awesome to have a nice looking yard for once. I never used to care, and now I'm starting to care. We have this beautiful courtyards, and I'll show you them someday, and I'm starting to care. That helps. Now I'm going to screw these in. Okay, that one in. Okay, that one's in. Now I got to do this side. Of course, these temporary staples help. They keep it from traveling while you're screwing them in. And that's all they're there for. Now, usually I do both sides. And it did travel slightly there. But not horribly. I'm using really small screws because these are 1x4s and they don't need a whole lot of as much what do you call it, I'm gonna have to staple this side, at least parts of it. It's trying to come apart on me. There's gaps. Close the gaps as much as possible. Yeah, this board must be warped. There's more gap here than there should be. Yeah. I'm gonna, well, it didn't help as I screwed that end in without putting a staple. If I would have put a staple in, I probably wouldn't have ended up with this monstrous gap. Way too big a gap here. Way too big. I'm going to unscrew the one side and then screw it back in, hopefully getting rid of some of the gaps. Okay. All right. That did it. This frame seems, unlike that 2x4, first 2x4 frame, seems solid. So that's probably going to be the end of today's project. It's getting late in the day. I'm going to put the top on next, And since I'm using the, I'm going to use the finish board, it's really thin. I'm going to just use my staple gun and the staple nails and nail it on there. And it'll save time. But before I do that, I'm going to use the rest of this 1x4, 1x3, and make my, I'm going to make a, frame down the center. And then I'm going to make all kinds of other ribbings so that this will be well, it should support even on a very thin board, it should support everything. And if it doesn't hold well, I'll just replace it with a piece of plywood. So, but since I have more finished board than I have plywood right now, because I need the plywood for this to finish this table, I'm going to do that and see how it works. If it doesn't work, then I'll do it another way. And that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. We have our frame together. The next one is we're going to put the railings, the little support pieces in, and then we're going to put the top on it, and then we're going to attach it to the hutch, and you'll be able to see the hutch. Of course, we're going to have to paint it before we attach it to the hutch. But the next step is we're going to finish this up and put on the top, and once the top's put on, then the next time we're gonna paint it off camera, because you don't really need to watch paint drying, and we'll be good to go. So thanks a lot. I gotta find my power off button thingy. It's right here. Okay. Have a good one, guys. May the force be with you. And of course it's not working. Manual off, manual override.